This is a selection of poems written since the early 1940s. The first one is called Lines on a Young Lady's Photograph Album. At last you yielded up the album, which, once open, sent me distracted. All your ages, matte and glossy on the thick black pages. Too much confectionery, too rich. I choke on such nutritious images.
It is an anthology from the grave, and possibly the definitive order in which Philip Larkin wanted his poetry to be heard.
He's picked the ultimate Larkin. This is a new work of art by Philip Larkin, because, as everyone says, the sequencing of the poems in the three major volumes is itself an artistic expressiveness.
It was in the suburbia of Humberside that the deeply melancholic poet asked a sound engineer to capture his reading on tape. John Weeks duly obliged. His widow, Molly, remembers the sessions well.
Well, they just got in there. He settled down to, after a bit of testing, and off they went. And came in after for some coffee, and off they, back to Hull. I heard it on and on afterwards, editing it, because he'd have had 2 or 3 goes at something. He was a tall, big-built man, and he was very jokey, but you didn't know whether he was joking and pulling your leg. It was very difficult to tell. And, of course, unfortunately, he had those thick glasses, so that you weren't, his eyes didn't help you as regards whether he was being funny or not.
This is my father's old studio, and it's full of old sound equipment that he collected over the years.
The recording and its significance lay forgotten for 26 years, until Molly mentioned it to her son Peter.
Well, she told us the story of Larkin coming here to make the recordings, and so we thought we'd see if we could find them amongst the hundreds of tapes that there are, and we have searched amongst them. This is just a part of the tapes that we had, and here they are, 2 tapes of Dr. P.A. Larkin.
And what was your reaction when you finally saw those and put your hands on them?
Oh, we thought, wow, it's here they are, but they probably fall apart when we try and play them, because they've been stored for 25 years, and so. But no, they all played very well.
The collection, recorded in a dusty back room, includes the only known audio of Larkin reading from the North Ship anthology.
I put my mouth close to running water. Flow north, flow south. It will not matter. It is not love you will find. I told the wind. It took away my words. It is not love you will find. Only the bright-tongued birds. Only a moon with no home.
There he is at the age of 58, reading them with the same romantic conviction as he wrote them in, which was always part of his temperament, I think, although he tended to deny it, and the popular image of Larkin doesn't have him as that kind of romantic.
It is not love you will find. You have no limbs crying for stillness.
I wonder if he did these recordings so that he could have a personal copy of most of the... Very interesting if this would have continued. And
that is an interesting point, and interestingly putting the North Ship poems in, that would be very personal, I think, because in public, as I said, he did rubbish the North Ship.
The recordings were made just 5 years before the poet's death, and 3 years after he'd effectively stopped writing poetry. It's the only known anthology he made across the body of his work.
Well, this has only just occurred to me, but looking down the order and the sequence that they go through, this seems to be Larkin's own anthology, I would think, of what he means to be his distilled oeuvre.
In the hollows of afternoons, young mothers assemble at swing and sandpit, setting free their children.
to hear his voice again, it immediately takes me back to the times when we were together, whether it was library committee or at home.
What kind of man was he, and what do you think he would think of the fact that these have been unearthed and there's quite a lot of fuss about them?
Well, if he were able to know, I'm sure that he'd get a tremendous kick out of it. That would be my feeling.
For though old cattle know they must not stray, young steers are always scenting purer water, not here but anywhere.
I would like to see them go into some sort of archive or be published for anyone who wants to listen to them. I'd quite like it as a sort of memorial for my father rather than any other reason. I'm quite pleased that he's actually something that he's done that's made a little mark on history rather than being completely forgotten.
Larkin remains one of the most psychoanalysed of all 20th century poets. His friends describe him as funny. He believed writing about unhappiness was the source of his popularity. This forgotten recording reveals another dimension of a man still able to surprise more than 20 years after his death.
The stone fidelity they hardly meant has come to be their final blazon, and to prove our almost instinct almost true. What will survive of us is love.